Water is such an important resource on the Hawaiian Islands that in their indigenous language, the word for water is the root word for prosperity. Their beautiful, invaded, resilient ecosystems have reminded me that all life really does begin and end with the ocean. Hunting these waters with people whose families cared for these reefs for thousands of years was the experience of a lifetime. Shorediving crazy current to take deep drops on reefs with barely any fish was some of the hardest diving I've ever done. The ocean here is not kind, and its harshness teaches us to use absolutely every part of our catch, and to be grateful to see another sunrise.
Welcome back to another episode of One Up, One Down Adventures. We got a flight at 5 a.m. We'll see you then. We got her. Welcome back to a very special episode of One Up, One Down Adventures. We've got the Spore Tube, and we're in Hawaii. All the gear is here, so the hard part's over. But there's a little wrinkle in this video. We do not have Evan. I've got my family with me. That's my little brother. We're on a family trip, and so in keeping with the One Up, One Down logo, I guess, I will not be diving alone. I'll be diving with locals the whole time. I'll leave all of their social media stuff in the description, and I'll see you guys out on the water.
Alright, starting off this trip with a bang, I was getting ready to go shore dive with someone from Kauai, and my gun got stolen from like right behind us, so I didn't dive for like the first 3 days of the trip.
Okay, so day 3 or 4 of the trip, finally got a new gun. I'm at Kapaa Beach Shop with Spiro Kauai. These are the owners. Really great people. Hooked me up with this gun. I'm going to shoot tomorrow, and it's thanks to them that I was even able to do that. Really cool shop here. And if you're on the island, you all should check it out. Dog. Alright, it's 4 a.m. and I'm at this guy's house that I met at the dive shop. I'll leave his socials in the description. Super nice dude and an absolute godsend. 15-foot whaler, 3-foot swells, and hopefully we're gonna get on some muku.
Welcome back underwater, everybody. I first just gotta thank a bunch of people for getting this whole thing to happen. My gun did get stolen on like the second day of the trip when I was trying to shore dive, and Kapaa Beach Shop was able to hook me up with a Cap spear guns. I want to thank Cap and Spiro Kauai, because without them that wouldn't have been able to happen. And the people that I met on the trip, Aleo and Kalai, both were just so awesome to dive with. It was great to meet them, and the people that I get to meet in person because our schedules didn't line up. Everybody that I DM'd or talked to was super amazing, and the locals there just really showed me how much respect and love and care goes into this fishery. It's my first drop, kind of a warm-up dive. I'm really sick on this trip, so for this day I wasn't even diving anywhere deeper than 75 feet. You can see that bluefin trevally right in front of me and all those parrotfish. At the time of this dive I didn't realize that I could actually shoot parrotfish legally, and that bluefin was way too big for me to eat with just me and my brother, so I didn't take it. I told them about it though, but they didn't find it. This reef is so cool and so different than the reef that I'm used to. It's very flat. Those fish over there, those like angelfish looking things, like the ones from Nemo. This kind of a coral that's right in front of me actually sounds hollow when you scratch on it. And so Aleo told me that scratching on those, the sound it makes really helps attract the uku. So that's what I was doing on this dive here, sending it down to about 60 feet, to the bottom, and what you want to do with these uku is lay on the bottom and look up at them. They'll come towards you, and then they'll pump fake like they're swimming away, and then they'll come back in, and that's when you take your shot. After, of course, dusting and scratching and grunting, etc., finding those corals that make things sound hollow, and ideally scratching one of those. If you can't find one of those, just scratching on the ground, it creates a lot of commotion that for some reason brings those jobfish in. Right now I'm laying here, don't even have my gun in my hand, and I'm just doing little grunts and trying to get comfortable on the bottom. I was extremely sick on this day, like literally unable to equalize. I had blood coming out of my nose after every dive. I probably shouldn't have been diving, but I see this uku coming towards me, and I know that if I let it come back in a little bit, then I can take my lunge and go after it. I slightly mistimed my lunge. I'm a little late and it starts to swim away, but I'm able to close that distance. It's the first trigger pull with this gun, and I just sniped that fish from right at the edge of the range that I should have been able to hit it with 130 centimeter gun. Sent that 8mm shaft straight through, and that is my first green jobfish, or uku. Pulling him up, trying to be ginger with it because I don't know how good my shot was because of how far away I pulled the trigger. But once I get eyes on him,
I do believe that is a green jobfish.
I know that I've got him, so it's pretty chill. Double flopper saved me. You can tell I was at the edge of my range because only one of the floppers was able to penetrate and actually deploy. Very lucky that I was actually able to land this guy. Not very big, not the biggest fish, but it is my first job fish, and I was super stoked. These things are absolutely delicious, and I've got the footage of me eating him literally just on a bench with some soy sauce, nothing else. So good. Like one of top 10 fish for sure that I've ever eaten raw. Next dive here, I'm going to show you some of this grunting and scratching that I'm talking about, the proper technique. This was not the fishiest day according to Leo and his dive partner, but it was, like, for me, just an epic day. They were complaining about the viz, which was really funny to me because how on earth is this considered bad viz anywhere? I kind of learned this summer that the viz that we consider bad in the Gulf is undiveable for most people, and we still dive it. But you see, I'm laying here, I'm scratching, I'm trying to find these lower points of the reef, these little divots, so that the uku can come in above me and have plenty of space to do that. I'm laying in here, doing these little grunts, doing a little bit of dusting, not going crazy with it, not throwing stuff everywhere and making those really loud grunts that I would do in the Gulf. I'm trying to be a little bit more subtle because this is a really, really pressured fishery. You can see those hollow corals right there that I could have used to make that hollowish scratching sound that Leo said the uku really enjoy. On my way up here, and you can hear how bad my sinuses are. Oh my gosh. It's pretty abysmal. Throwing the gun in the boat, and we headed in shallow because I was just unable to actually dive at normal depths because I was so stuffed up and so sick. So we started hunting invasives, which was super fun. These are my first Roy, which are the invasive rock hind grouper species that are around here. They were introduced in, I think, the 30s as kind of like a recreational population, but of course they all have ciguatera, and they've been destroying native populations, so it's up to us to kill as many as we can, and that is exactly what I was doing throughout this trip. You can see them right here in the holes. There's a bunch of them just hanging out. Grab one and come back for the other later. It's more than just two just in this little shallow rock. It is really sad to see how invasive species will affect an ecosystem. But they are pretty little fish. They are cool little fish, and they're great to shoot. They're fun. It's great for kids to learn. Leo brought his son into the shallows with us, and he was learning to spearfish, shooting the little Roy, which is super cool to see with a kid as young as he is. Getting on down. I've got one Roy in my hand, and I look at this other one, and this other one's big. So I put the little Roy in my hand down, so I'm able to actually load my pole spear. I'll look back to grab the band here. Then I'm able to load the pole spear and get after this bigger Roy here. You're really able to take your time with these guys. They don't spook or flick away. They don't really have much fear, which is nice. And I get my 2 little Roy for this part of the trip on the Reef pole spear as well, which is the Hawaiians thought it was super funny that I was using a Reef pole spear, like a thick fiberglass one. They use these little thin ones. Leo also shot a parrotfish, which is super cool. I've never shot a parrotfish. I've never landed one. It's not legal in Florida.
Alright, we're back in, and Leo's showing my dad his fish back at the hotel. This was an awesome experience on his boat, and I will definitely be back and diving with him next time. Shout out to Leo. One of the perks of staying in a hotel room is this is how you wash your gear. Boom. We got one print, one Kumu sashimi. Not the biggest in the world, but first. Really excited about it. We'll see you guys the next dive day. Money. Alright, what's up guys? We're at the spot. It's raining a little bit. That's not gonna stop us. I'm not gonna show the beach line out of respect for their spots, but I'm excited. I'm gonna get in the water.
We're back underwater, getting our stuff ready for another shore dive. This shore dive, we did actually shoot a fish. The previous 2, no fish were shot. It is a very challenging fishery. Even if you're diving with locals, even if you're an experienced or deep diver, it's very pressured, which means you have to be really choosy about what it is you're taking. You can't just shoot all the small fish, otherwise there won't be any fish left when you come back or the next time you go out if you live there. So it's important to be choosy, it's important to kill invasives, and it's important to go after fish and only take what you need. You don't need, 4 uku in one dive trip. You just need the one. I passed up on that bluefin trevally because it was a little big. I'm lining up right now on a Roy, but I feel like I'm going to lose my shaft, so I don't actually grab that. But this is pretty cool. This is a sea turtle cleaning station. There weren't any turtles there at that time, but it was really cool to see all the cleaner wrasse hanging out. For those of you who don't know what cleaner wrasse are, they're fish that eat parasites off of other fish and algae and stuff like that. Next dive here, and this dive we're in about 65-70 feet. I'm much more good from my sickness. It's been a few days, had a couple shore dive attempts, so I'm ready to rock, and I see a Roy right here. It's a perfect way to warm up. I only have one band loaded anyway. I want this 2-for-1 to try to get both of these guys in one shot, but I end up settling for just the closest, biggest one here. Staring him down, lining up this shot, trying not to get my shaft stuck in the rock. Grabbing him. Nice little stone shot on the Roy. They are pretty little fish, even though they are horrifically invasive and bad for the ecosystem. This reef was super cool too because of how quickly it dropped off with this blue water. We're in 60, but then we're immediately out in the blue water once I reload this gun. And some fish come by called milkfish, or in Hawaiian it's ava. I think I'm pronouncing that right. They come by, I don't even know that we can shoot them. I then get told we can and start trying to line up on them here. One of our buddies that's with me and Kalai shoots one, and it is struggling right here, but it tears out. And then we see a manta ray, which is really cool as well. There it is. It's kind of far off in the distance, and the footage is a little grainy, so it wasn't in the intro, but that's super duper cool. Alright, now we're doing the real diving. This is 97 feet to bottom, which is no joke, even for a Gulf dive where I'm at home and I'm with, you know, Evan, who's my usual safety diver, and I'm doing everything right and by the book and not just coming off of a sickness. So it's really important here that not only I have trust Kalai and our other buddy who we're diving with, who's been diving for like 20 years, it's an absolute beast, but also that I don't push myself, that I don't stay down too long because a fish is coming up or whatever, because a shore dive is the worst possible time to have something like a blackout happen, because you have no way of getting back in on power. You have to be well enough to kick back. That being said, I get down here feeling pretty comfortable. I'm grunting, I'm looking around, my gun's laying down. I don't really see much life, so I'm kind of skeptical that anything's going to come in at all, but I still give it the try, looking around, doing my grunts. Hard to read a reef that's so different than the ones that I'm used to diving. I also have this like tail line for my float that's kind of dragging on me. Diving with a float is a lot harder than diving normally without one. So if you do blue water hunting with a float line, you'll know what I mean here. But you're dragging that thing behind you on the way down and on the way up. Makes it a little bit more challenging. Get back to the surface. Kalai's doing some great safety diving here. And I'm not showing when our heads break through the water because I'm trying to not give away the spot itself. On this dive, Kalai had seen a Kumu spook into a hole from the surface. I don't know how he's seeing that at like 80 feet. He's seeing this fish spook into this hole, this little, you know, 2.5, 3 pound fish spook into this hole, but he saw it spook into that hole. There's a bunch of tow in there, and behind it there's that Kumu that he said would be there. And so I'm lining up on it, taking my time, making sure I don't break my shaft. I had unloaded one band when he said there was a Kumu going into a hole. I'll line up right here, and boom, able to grab him, stone him, which is nice. All of those yellowfish in there are invasive, and they cleared out when I shot the Kumu. Otherwise we would have just gone back down there and put a hurting on those guys. They are good. They taste like grunts, and I can tell you that because I ate one that I shot on the Shoredive after this with Kalai, which will be in the next video. But we're super stoked on this Kumu.
Yeah.
Otherwise known as the red banded or red something goatfish. Super ridiculously tasty. The cooking part of the whole catch and cook for this Kumu is going to be in the next video, so you should stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, and watch the next episode of this Hawaii series if you are interested in that. Heading down here, and this dive I'm targeting a fish that was really like the fish of the trip for me, which is a moo. There's this pile of moo that's sitting down here at about 88 feet, getting down here, and you can kind of see a couple smaller moo are clearing out over by the sand, but the school that I'm looking at are actually above this ridge that I'm kind of settling down into the low part and looking up and around. You can see one off there to the right, but there's bigger ones out to my left, which I'm going to turn my head to in a second. And they're very far. They're super smart. They stayed way, way away from me on this dive. But this was my first real moose sighting where I had a chance at them in the water, and I could get an understanding of just how difficult it is to hunt these things. They are very wary. They do not get close. There they are over there, that big school, that nice pile of them. I know my dive's about to end, so I start to approach, which was a mistake. I should have headed straight up. Then I have more dives to get them comfortable with me where I'm not approaching with them. That was a mistake that I made. But that concludes the diving section of this video. Now I'm gonna eat some uku and save the kumu for the cooking part of the next video. I'll see you guys in the next one.